I've been going through my staves and I have two bows that I'm going to make. One has texture and it's going to wind up being a 61-inch bow. And this one here is going to be 62. And this one here is going to be a little stronger for hunting. So the other one is probably going to be a 3D bow because there's some texture and I'm worried about there's a, looked like almost like a wormhole, but I poked in with a toothpick and it's solid. And I put a drop of JB Weld Super Weld, it's almost like a super glue, but it's liquid. Put a drop in the next day. It really didn't. It was filled level, so it didn't really have to penetrate too far. But that's going to be a 3D bow, and this is going to be a hunting bow. Okay, I'm making two bows. One with a lot of character on the back is probably going to be a lighter weight bow, and this one here, 62, is going to be a hunting bow. And we're going to fire harden this one, and then the other one with the textured back. And I'll show you the results. You see bows that have character, little wiggle to them. Well, I call this character on the back, the bumps and everything, and it's absolutely fine. Because when we tiller this bow, we're going to tiller it just looking at the belly of the bow, and we're going to make that belly bend absolutely perfect when we tiller it. You watched all my other fire hardening videos, and Keith Shannon from Shannon Outdoors came up with how to adjust the height of the bow for the proper heat. And if you take your palm of your hand and you put it underneath, you go 1, 2, 3. On that third count, it's all common sense. You don't want to burn your hand, right? So it's common sense, all right? If you don't have common sense, don't do it. But put your hand, the palm up, right underneath the limb, and to a three count. If it's 1, 2, then it's too hot. Okay, but 1, 2, 3. Let it cool a minute. 1, 2, 3. I'm gonna move this up one. A little hot now. Okay, so 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. That's the best way. I don't know how he came up with it, but you can't use a thermometer. You get near, coals or anything with the thermometer, it shoots right up. You can't measure the distance between the coals and the wood because the outside temperature, wind, there's all kinds of variables that'll affect that, and it's absolutely, it don't work. Okay, it just plain don't work. So that's the best method. And once again, like I always say, look at that Beckham Outdoors, and Keith Shannon Outdoors, and get their fire hardening video, their fire hardening DVD, and it'll change the way you get wood and how you make bows. All right, it's definitely worth the money. It's important to remember every time you fire harden a bow to hydrate it. Hydrate it. Take a wet rag and wipe it down, dripping wet rag. I usually do this 3 times. I'll do it, and then 45 minutes later or whenever, I'll one more time, and then another hour or so after that, when I come out, I'll just, like 3 times I hydrate the bow, and I put it in the house. Good morning. It's Wednesday, August 6th, and I'm going to tiller this shorter 61-inch fire-hardened hickory bow. I made the riser a little smaller. There will be a shelf cut into this. And the reason I made a smaller riser is to get a little more out of the working limbs. And what I did was, too, is I put the string grooves closer towards the ends to get a little more working room on the limbs. This is deer antler that I believe this was a shed my son found. And I shaped it and put it on. I'm just going to touch it up with a file before I tiller it. But what I wanted to show you was when you sand this deer antler, it turns white. It's normally brown, and then it turns white where you sand it. So the leather dye, this is dark brown leather dye, I wiped over the top, left the bottom pristine, wiped over the top to get the color, and then I glued them on and held it in place with rubber bands with AE40. Okay, so they look pretty good, right? I want to show you the tillering marks that I have. When you look down a bow, you could sort of see from tip to tip through the handle. Sometimes you could see it, sometimes you can't until you pull it back when it has a string on it. And I still double check when I have a string on brace height on it, and I pull it a little, you can see what side or look down it favors. But as far as I could see, this will be the top. And I laid out my tillering marks. And you can see where the fade outs are. I measured from the center to here. These are even. I went down 3/4 of an inch from the bottom of the string groove, got another tillering mark, and then I put a midpoint tillering mark. These 3 marks will be used throughout the tillering process. And I'm going to show you, try to show you close-ups of the actual bend and the yardstick method, okay, this micro tillering, so you could see close-ups of flat spots and things I'm talking about. Okay, I'm going to just touch up these grooves and we'll be ready to put the string on and start bending it. Okay, we have a long string, kind of a short long string on there, and you can see the back set in the bow from the fire hardening. And we're going to pull it down to just a little bit below level. Don't pay attention to the siding in, compared to the bow, because everything's out of whack. This pole here is not cemented in the ground. The ground's uneven. I look at the back of the riser and get it level, and I pull the string down in the center of this post, the tillering stick. So we're going to go down a little past level, and then we're going to show you flat spots and where we got to take material off. Okay. We got the yardstick and we got our marks here. Hopefully you can see we have the bottom of the mark at the fade out where it's touching the ruler, and then we're down here by the tip. And if you look, we have a pretty good bend going on, but you could see there's a flat spot from here to here. It dips down. Okay, it's even down a little bit. Okay, we want to get this to bend even on both sides. So right here, it dips down, it's low. Okay, let me come closer with the camera so you can see it. Okay, you see that low spot? Okay, we're going to remove material from there. I'm going to use a belt sander, but you use 60 grit sandpaper and you erase the line, and then put the line again and keep on going and check it back and forth until you get a nice bend. Now what we're going to do is we're going to check out the other side and mark the other side now too. As I looked down from tip to tip, the string favored this side, so I marked it as the top and laid it out. But that could change. So let's see what we got over here on this side. Now if you look here, the first thing that you automatically see is that that side had a nice bend. This side is barely bending. Okay, and when we look, it's fairly even across. So what I start is, if I was to use sandpaper, I would start sanding from this midpoint and work my way out. Put a little more marks, sand from the middle, and work my way out to get it to bend more. I'm going to use the belt sander, and that's what we're going to do. So the bottom limb needs to bend evenly, and we're going to come back. We're going to do that and come back. I don't recommend anybody using power tools unless you're really experienced with it, because you can ruin a bow in a matter of a second. You can make a gouge, a dip, and that's the end of it. All that work you did is for nothing. So I'm going to tell you to use sandpaper. It depends on the wood, a scraper sometimes, a sandpaper. I like 60 grit sandpaper, especially on softer woods. To get it tilled, I'd rather use hand sandpaper, 60 grit. Okay, so here's the mark I made between here and here. And I'm going to show you, this was the top limb where we had a little dip. So I'm going to show you, I put my finger here, and you can see on top of this knot is basically the end of it. I'm going to show you what I do. Now on this bottom limb, we want the whole thing to bend. It looked pretty even. So I'm going to still start from the middle and work my way out. And with this bottom limb now, I'm going to take some strokes off, even strokes. And I put my hand flat and I go back and forth flat. Okay, let's go check out and see if I did anything. Let's start with the top limb with that little dip we had. We actually had a dip there. It wasn't even a flat spot. It was a dip downward. And look, when I went in and back and forth, we got a little bit of a bend going on. And you could, and there's a center point. You see the center point? So what we have here is roughly 5/8. Okay, we're just starting out. And the idea is that with this early tillering is that we get the limbs to bend evenly. The stress of the wood is bent evenly throughout the curve. So it don't put stress on any section of the wood, and it prevents hinges and stress on the limbs. Let's check over here. This one here was really flat, and it's probably going to need a lot of work. But if you look, what I did was by starting in the middle and working my way out, okay, we're starting to get a little gap. It's only a ½ inch, but we could see here the flat spots. So it starts bending up and it stops here. And then from here to here, it's a drop. It's a bow, drops down. Okay, so this here is the flat spot, or part that drops down. So we're going to hit this again. Just get a little close up here of my tillering marks from the tip to the fade out. And again, you can see there's a bend and it kind of stops here and then it drops down. So in here is what I was talking about. Hopefully you'll be able to see it with the close-up. I did that same technique. I went from here and I sanded a little bit more, worked my way out, and then I gave it a couple of flat strokes. Let's see if it looks a little better. I'll stand over here. Okay, we're getting there. We're getting there. Okay. We're almost at 5/8, and once I take this flat spot out, we need a little more. It needs just a little more bending, and let's see where we can mark it from. I would say from here to here. Okay, so a shorter little spot here. Remove a little material there and come back. We're almost there even. When we get the limbs both even, we can go down a couple of inches at a time, and we'll see how it progresses. I took a little material off both limbs to even it out after I took some down here. Let's see what we got. I always put the numbers in so there's no distractions. And we're going to check the center point, and we get exactly 3/4 of an inch. And if you split it, we got a nice bend on each side, and that's what we're looking for. Now let's go over here. Like I said, I did reduce a little bit here to match the other side. See how close I get it. Oh, we got 3/4. Let's look and see if we see how it's bending. I do see a little flat spot. And the flat spot is from here to here. Even though it's 3/4, there's a little less bend here, and I want to get that perfect bend, okay? Let's see if you could see the flat spot. There's a dip here, okay? We're going to remove that dip and come back. Let's see if I did anything with that dip. Okay, the dip was here. We got a little bit of it. We got a good bend going on now. Okay. We have just like a 1/16 more than 3/4. And it's about even. So the bends look good, and we're going to go down 1 more inch. And we're going to see if any flat spots appear as we go down 1 inch at a time. You know, doing this micro tillering, as you go down a little, you could start to see things change. Okay, so let's look. I think we got a good bend going on here. Okay, I don't really see any real flat spots yet jumping out. We got 1 1/8 inches or so. We got 1 1/16 inches. Okay, we got a good bend. I'm going to remove a couple of strokes off of this just to even it out. Okay, because we got 1 1/8 inches, 1 1/16 inches, just a couple of strokes, and we're going to come back. Just for the sake of time, so it's not like watching paint dry, I showed you the technique of how I removed to get everything bending even. And I went back 3 times doing the same thing, a little touch up here or there. And let's see how we did now. We got a beautiful bend throughout the whole thing. And I did remove a little bit, a couple strokes here. I didn't go, I made even strokes closer to here so I can get by the fade out bending slightly. You got to be careful. This is the spot where you create a hinge. I leave it stiff until it's almost ready to put a string on. 1 3/8. Okay, we got a little bend going on here too. 1 3/8. Okay, so we got it evened up, and we're almost at the point where we could put a string on. We're going to go down another inch. Go down another 2 inches, and we're going to look at it. See if anything changed, because we're going to put a string on. Beautiful bend. One 5/8. We're 16th. We got a 16 positive on the top, which is okay. We're going to look for a string. Just to let you know, these center points are just good for measuring the bend, but you have to step back and look at the overall bend. Like I said, if you split this limb in half, okay, you want that mirror image. You want a bend on both sides, okay? Obviously, the outers will be a little stiffer, but you basically want a nice bend on both sides. As I approach getting closer to put a string on, I take 120 grit sandpaper, and on the belly, the part that faces your belly, I take it and I just want to round the edges, take the sharp edges off, okay, before I put a string on it. And every time I remove material now, I will hit this with a couple of strokes of 120, make it round. Well, I have a string on. I had to take a little material off what I'm calling the top limb. And actually, I think the top limb is going to be the bottom limb, but I have it even. I have it even now, and it's a lower pound bow than I thought, but the tiller is absolutely perfect. And it's kind of weird because usually the limb's this thick, you know, I can get like a 40+ pound bow out of it. but for some reason this one here is lighter. It's probably like 34 pounds or so, I would say. So what I'm going to do is I took a lot of material off. I'm going to fire harden this one more time and see what kind of weight we come up with. All right? But look at the tillering job. I mean, that micro tillering really makes a beautiful tiller, okay? A little at a time. And the thing I want to mention too is that you don't want a wonky tiller. You want it even, you want it perfect. And the idea is, you know, if you're saying, wow, the top limb's bending a lot, but I got my 42 pounds or whatever, the bow's going to shoot terrible. It's going to get a hinge. It may break. It's better to take your time. It only took me a little bit. I didn't remove a lot of material. And that's why I was surprised at the lighter weight. And you saw what I did. It didn't take long at all to get this even. And it is what it is. Sometimes the bow weight is what it is, okay? And this was surprising for me because usually with this limb thickness, I get a heavier bow weight. But that's okay. I'm going to fire harden it one more time and we're going to see what we got. You saw me have a string on this, and I told you I worked the top limb, and you saw me pull it back. There's a piece of video that I guess I didn't hit the button that was missing. And what it was I showed that I had to work the top and that I got it even with the brace height on, with the string on, with the brace height. And I put the bow up here with the string on. It was strung, and I pulled it down to 15, checked it with the ruler, pulled it down to 20, pulled it down to 22, and checked it with the ruler, and the bends were perfect and nice. And then you see the video of me saying, you know, I took it down and I'm surprised at the weight. Okay, so once you get the string on, it's not done. You just can't pull it back like I did. I actually put it with the correct brace height on and pulled it down to 20 or 15, and then a little lower, and at 22 I said it's great, and then I was able to pull it back. So that's it. This is the lighter character on the back bow, and you can see after it's tillered, and it's still got the back set from fire hardening. But we're going to cook it one more time because it's a little light on the belly, the part that faces your belly after tillering. And we're going to let it go for a little bit more and see if we can gain a little bit of weight. The character on the back bow is being cooked one more time, and you can overcook a bow. You could make it dried out, brittle, cooked all the way through, but I showed you the belly for a reason. The belly didn't have an even color throughout the limbs, and I'm going to watch this, and we're going to try and get an even color at the proper height. Okay, the second fire hardening put color back in the limbs. I'm going to hydrate this bow 3 times. Tonight and tomorrow we're going to just check the tiller real quick with the long string and make adjustments if I have to. And we're going to put the regular string on and see what kind of weight we got. And then I'll shape this bow and the hunting bow too. I will tiller and shape the hunting bow. On a separate video, we will chronograph the hunting bow, just for the heck of it. We have a 6.5 inch brace height. Should be a little positive tiller on the top. We got 7 7/8, 7 3/4 on the bottom limb. It's a 1/4 inch more on the top. 6.5, 6 5/8. So we got that 1/4 inch extra tiller on the top. Pull down a little bit. Something tells me this bow is going to remain light. Okay, we're at like a 17 inch draw length. We're going to see how the bend looks. Okay, now if you look at that bend, we got a really nice bend going on there, okay? There's nothing that jumps out. Okay, we got a really nice bend going on. And once again, this is a bump. You just look at the belly. Okay, we got a really nice bend going on. We got a 22 inches. Same thing, nice bend. Nice bend, and if you see humps, you got to really focus on just the belly, okay? Because the belly, if you look at the bend on the belly, it's perfect, okay? Pulling it down like I did, it feels light because I had to get the bend, correct the bend a little bit after fire hardening, so I had to remove a little material. So hopefully it might be even a little less than it was yesterday. But that's okay. You'd rather have a perfect tiller the way you want, a little positive on the top. And we're going to take it down to my 26.5-inch drawer. And it's going to be a lightweight bow, but it'll be tillered perfect. Okay, we got a 25, 26-inch, 25, 26-pound bow. Okay, let's see if you can see from here. Make sure I got the top limb up top. The profile. So it's a fine, lightweight little bow. And we'll see what I'm going to do with this. I have a couple of young people I may give this to. We'll see. Okay, you can see the back set. Shape the riser. This is my fire hardened 62-inch hunting bow that I have the same tillering marks, and I'm going to follow the same process. Okay, got marks on the fade outs from the string grooves, okay, and the center mark. And I'll show you when it's all done. The goal weight here is 45 plus, and it's going to be very heavy, so there'll be a lot of work, and I'll show you when it's all done. We'll go shoot. My 62-inch hunting bow is tillered. It's got a 1/4-inch positive tiller on top. It's looking good. At my 26.5, it's like 48. It's a little heavy for me, but I'll just show you. The tiller. We got perfect bend over here. And we got a perfect bend over here. We have an absolute perfect tiller by using that micro tillering, going down a little at a time. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to shape the handle, shape the riser, put a shelf in, pull it back once or twice, and if I have to reduce a little weight, I'll do it then. Because it is a little on the heavy side because I have a tear in the rotator cuff. But I'm going to shape it and see what it feels like. Got it tillered, 1/4-inch positive on top. It took longer, I think, to shape and sand the riser and shelf, make the shelf, than it did to tiller the bow. It's a little heavy. I think it's like 48 pounds at my draw length of 26.5. But what I'm going to do is we're going to go in the back and I'm going to just take a couple of shots with it, not too many. See if I think I could get used to it or just shoot it a little bit and then retiller it, maybe take some weight off. Look at the profile. I think you could see it from here. Yeah, it's a little heavy, but we're going to shoot some arrows out of it. I got to clean up the mess and then we're going to go in the back. In the past, I'd say maybe 5 days, maybe a little less, I've made 2 bows. And this is my 62-inch fire hardened hunting bow that we're going to check the weight on, and I'm going to shoot 3 arrows through it. It's going to be a hunting bow. I have a 29-inch Eastern Legacy, that's a 500 spine with a 125 grain tip, and it's 408 grains. And then I have a 30 and a half inch vintage Black Eagle. That's 400 spine, but we have 160 up front. So we're going to shoot those two first and see what kind of speeds we get in the chronograph. And then we're going to shoot a lighter Hunter just for the heck of it through. That's 500 spine, and it's 347. So a really light hunting arrow, 500 spine. So first, the Legacy at 408, and then the vintage Black Eagle at 528. $154. $154 for the Legacy. So this is a heavier bow. It's kicking it out pretty good. Now we got this heavy vintage Black Eagle. Let me just check again. Got to write this stuff down. It's 528 grains. Okay, 528 grains. $140. One more time. We got the Legacy. $156. And we got the heavier Black Eagle. $139, $140. Okay, so I'm probably going to go with the Legacies this year. And I wanted to see if I can. You should never really be overbowed. So if I practice with this, it's only going to be a couple of shots, and then that's it. We're going to see how many pounds it is with this little pull scale. And again, this has got like a pinch point that you're pulling back with. When you grab the string, you have more material. It's not a pinch point. So you're pulling back more of the string. You probably got a pound or two more, it could be. But it's to give you an idea of what the poundage is. $49.44 pounds, okay? It's a lot heavier than I normally would use. But I'm able to pull it back and hold it for a couple of seconds. And you just want to make sure that you can pull back, touch anchor, hold it for a second or two, and release. So I'm going to keep it like this just for a little bit. If I have to take off material, I will. And we're going to grab the little bow now. We're going to grab this little bow I made, see how many pounds it is. We got this little lighter bow that I made that had a textured back. And I made it lighter because I thought that was a wormhole. Put a little JB Weld dropped in there. I took a toothpick first to see if it went in. If it went in on an angle, I wouldn't even have made a bow, but it kind of went in a little bit and stopped, not far. So I put a little JB Weld like that quick dry glue in there and let it sit overnight. And tilted it, shaped it, made it lighter. Let's see how many pounds it is, okay? And then I'll tell you about the arrows we're going to use. Boy, oh boy, you could hold that all day long. It's 25.30 pounds, so it's 25 pounds at my 26.5 inch. So we got these two little arrows we're going to shoot out of this, and we have the 29.5 inch trotters, and they're 282 grains, and we have Eastern vectors that are 32 800 spine, and they're 272, so there's a 10 grain difference. Okay, let me grab the arrows and we're going to take a couple of shots. This bow was fire hardened twice because it was a little light after I tilled it. And we're going to shoot the Eastern Vector out of it. That's 800 spine. On 130 feet per second. And then we got these 700 spine Entradas, which are really nice arrows. And we're going to see what kind of speed we get with that. These are a little bit heavier. 135. Actually a little faster. All right. Let me see. Let's do one more of these Eastern Vectors. 132. Okay. All right. So not bad for a little 25-pound bow. And I'll tell you what, after shooting that hunting beast, this is a pleasure. You can shoot these bows all day long. So this bow is going to make somebody happy. I got to just figure out who's going to. Okay, first time I'm shooting the little beast at the bear, which is about 17 yards, and the deer is 20. And it's quite a heavy bow. So let's see how we shoot. Got to try and be that shooting machine. Keep my hand up on target, my hand against my face, elbow all the way back, and we'll see what happens. Wow, right there. I think this is going to be a killer hunting bow. I just got to practice shooting just a couple a day. Okay. Good looking bow, man. Let's try the deer. The deer is 20 yards. Let's see how we do with the deer. Unbelievable. Okay. I shoot 20 and under, and first time I shot this beast, it hit. Let's go take a look at the target. You know, I like it. These fire hardened bows, you can't beat them. Micro Tillering, can't beat it. Okay, 17-yard bear. Arrow looks pretty straight. "20-yard deer, the arrow looks pretty straight. I think those are the ones. There's no pad on it because I'm not going to waste the pad until after I get done finishing it. But here we go. All right, so I'm pretty happy. Every day you wake up is a great day. Get out and do something. Shoot a bow, make a bow, all right? And once again, watch Dad Beckham and Keith Shannon's videos on fire hardening and tillering a 1,000-year-old bow. And I would get that DVD from them. And it allows you to go, you know, with permission, in the woods and get the whitewoods and fire harden them and make a bow. Right? I made 2 bows in 5 days. Those staves have been in my garage for a couple of months now. They've been cut down this year. All right. So every day you wake up is a blessing. All right. Thanks for watching. Have a good day.